The crisis of masculinity is not what society has given us. It's not what society has told you what you are and you've accepted, and the different TV shows that haven't empowered masculinity. The greatest crisis in this masculinity is you as a man taking away your ability to hurt, to be wrong, to fail. Because true strength of being a man does not come from you posturing or faking who you are in tough decisions, or you posturing and faking what it's like to have strength and fight through the hard times. True strength comes from pain. It comes from weakness. It comes from knowing what it's like to win. It comes from knowing what it's like to lose. And we as men have robbed ourselves from this. And it's a terrible tragedy. Now, I'm making this video because I got a message on my Instagram this morning from a man going through divorce, and he was talking about the betrayal and the pain and the sadness, and how he's moving past that, and how he's thankful, that he's glad that he was able to do that and to navigate through the tough emotional times and the legal things that you have to do in a divorce. And we have all sorts of information on that in our groups and in Men's Development Excellence. And let me just tell you that joining a men's community is one of the best things you can do when going through any time of stress in your life, because you want to be around men who have been there and who have done that and who have gotten better through it, not through reactionism, not through false posturing, and not through this false modality of strength that we seem to have accepted as men. We seem to have empowered. We seem to have built up and seen as the right thing. And I want to say this because toxic masculinity is not any longer what society has said masculinity is. And don't get me wrong, I think that the ways that men show themselves, the way that men compete, the way that men have strength, the way that men have sex, the way that men may hit on women, that may project their ambition, that may go for their goals, are all things that are very valued and great things about what it means to be a man. And I do think they were exploited and misinterpreted by society, but that didn't stop me or anybody in my groups from actually being great men. The biggest attribute to toxic masculinity now is other men lying to themselves, believing false leaders, believing some internet superhero of a man, and thinking that that's strength, and thinking that's what it means to be a man. And this is the lie. This is the lie that we've all bought into. Let me tell you something. The greatest strengths in my life, the greatest virtues, the greatest values, the greatest things that I think about myself, the greatest things that I can give to other people, the greatest things that I can build something from, the true virtues of masculinity all come from me sitting in the doubt of self. They come from the heartbreaks that had no solution, that made me think my life was over. They come from me feeling like a failure, feeling weak, and sitting in that, and looking at it, and following that line down to the depths of the self, like Jonah who goes into the belly of the whale, to go to the darkest parts of the ocean, the greatest depths, or whatever you call it, and to find himself and to find what cannot be found when we have our life easy. And we have forgotten this, and it's amazing that we forget it, because in every modality of spirituality, in every modality of wisdom that we've had for years, it warns us of this false sense of self, because it's so common, because we always do it, because when life gets easy, we forget to look at ourselves, and we have this dull pain of identity within our culture that affects men and women. And instead of finding ourselves, what do? We blame, we get angry, we make excuses. We choose the lowest forms of humanity, gossip, of arguing, of cutting down another person so we have power in ourselves rather than finding the power in who we are. And think about how many times you may have done that today. How many times did you have to define yourself as a human being by judging and blaming and arguing against something else, some cause, some other human being? True ownership, true self, true expression, and true speaking from the heart can only come from you. And its job isn't to put down other people, but to connect that to them. And that's what I want to see from men today. That's my mission. That is what I do. My message isn't for everybody, but if it is for you, come by Men's Development Excellence or take the Rebuild Challenge and get into our communities and be around thousands of other men who have walked this line of being a better man. We've done it for 15 years. I've been doing this for a long time, and that is the message we share. All right, we'll talk to you soon.